Yo, yo, yo. So we're in the office and it is a bit rainy outside, so my hair is all messed up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually share my screen and show you guys some copy that I'm doing a free copy audits. So if you want your copy audited by myself or someone on our team, we can go ahead and set that up. So this is Marlo. Marlo is a executive coach, pretty much showing C-suite executives how to manage their stress, how to get out and back into precision, back into production when you're completely stalled. So this is the first email that she sends out, and this is what we're just going to kind of look at. So we have the video here. Talent coach is not to only sit down with my clients, but to help them clarify their vision and six of the future. So pretty much there's a few things that we do in a copy audit. One is we're actually reading the copy to see if there's something that could be changed and or made that would make it slightly better, ting on the emotion of her ideal client. From talking with her, we know that her ideal client is a C-suite level executive. They're busy guys. I myself, pretty much founder of this copywriting consultancy, VCAS Consulting. So if you're not in our classified copywriter group, join it. But pretty much we're doing this audit on this copy. So let's see what's going on here. So let's help them clarify vision, socialize the systems, and try to get things done. So first and foremost, in this, there isn't really a call out to who her clients are in this opening paragraph. So I would say in the call out, I would identify who her clients are. Who are those people? And I usually start with some kind of emotion or pivot point where I think the term is linchpin point, where the person is telling a story about when they were really stressed. Marlo, I know that you came from corporate, so talk of a story where you actually were extremely stressed and start that way. That's always a really good strategy when writing copy. Then you're bringing on actually the offer that you're breaking out. So talking about the ROI high performance system, I think it's a bit early on in the copy or in the email itself. I would kind of describe to you what problem were you facing that caused you to come up with a system, or what problem was the market, what problem were the executives that you were talking to telling you that you wanted to come out with this ROI high performance system. So first and foremost, kind of describing a little bit who your clients are, either through a personal story or through a conversation you were having, is a very good linchpin point at the beginning that would actually allow you to further elaborate who exactly you're trying to speak to. Because right now you're just talking about yourself, but I don't really know who you are. Even if I joined your list, I want some kind of incentive to either remind me people are busy. I have a lot of emails that come through, actually my email right now, a lot of emails that come through that actually showcase different things. So these are whole sequences that I've edited before for other people, and there's a lot that come in. So I forget who I'm even connecting to. I have a number of connections on LinkedIn that are coming in every day. And in that sense too, elaborating on who you're trying to reach out to and who it is you are identifying with is going to really help out. So looking at the three pieces that you're really focusing on, is the confidence, action, performance, and risk. Again, you could talk about the system, but just showcase why the system was developed or who the system was developed for in that opening paragraph. So that would help a lot. Talking about what you're doing, which is fine. It's awesome. I'm going to watch the video to obviously make sure. And another thing I would, you can say hit reply, but I would also showcase to kind of let them know to look out for the second email, because this is a sequence. Just look out for the second email. So let's kind of go back out here. I'll watch the videos after and put a secondary commentary on that. But let's go out and just see what the second email in the sequence is, which is the secret sauce of my success. Let's look at that too. Systems get things done. No, we just looked at. I believe it is. So let's go back here. My mistake. Okay. So this is actually the first email. What we were looking at was the second one in the sequence. So this is the first one in the sequence. So let's see. Some of those comments might have been out of place. Here you go. Yep. Okay. That's exactly what I was talking about. Ever accomplish a goal thought? What now? Exactly. You want to kind of relate and have that relation there. Create a plan, execute. What I'd never done before. Okay. Things didn't go right. The entire project felt heavy at times. If you want to honestly kind of delve a little more, be a little more vulnerable, that kind of shows authenticity in what you're talking about versus if you're just saying random things to try to relate to a market. Like for example, if I'm reading this and it's actually kind of it's resonating with me. Like I'm an executive, I have felt that before. I want to talk a little bit about yourself, because that vulnerability will help me give me permission to be vulnerable myself when I get on those calls with you. My team are operating as a brand, creating content. And then you mentioned the authenticity there. So if diving into a little bit of specifics of like with a project or a specific moment in time, like for example, I got out of my car and I literally just gripped my steering wheel and stared out the windshield. I couldn't think of anything that came to my head of what I needed to do. I just wanted to stay in the car. Like, you're telling a story. You're kind of doing it here, but if you can delve a little more and make it more real, make it a tangible thing to evoke the emotion, not just a process, that would help a lot. Make a Maverick book launch. Okay. And then you go right into the CTA, which is awesome. And then now looking at the next message, which is the one we initially looked at before, I would say that, describing how you got into coaching would help lead that flow into the second email, because you're describing a moment where you're talking about, you're thinking of what now, and then you're talking about, having that a moment where you're feeling stressed, and then you just go right into, I'm a coach. How did you get there? Are you a coach? Are you safe coach for my clients? You never actually address the executives. I would say executives and talk about how you were an executive going forward. So let's see the third email. And again, I'm going to watch these videos and give you commentary on them. This is awesome. So sat next to someone at a networking event and they shook their heads. Busy, so busy. Yep. Implies that our calendars are full. In fact, between soccer games, late night hair appointments. See, like that, when they're talking about that authenticity, this email here has that, because these are things that you would do, between being a soccer mom, the late night hair appointments. And does it reveal how much all the work is worth? Does a day appointment mean a full client roster? No. And that's where obviously coming into client qualification comes into play. So that's something we want to talk about too. We could talk about that. But check the video out where I talk about being busy. Yeah. So it seems like you're just kind of going into some value. I would suggest kind of continuing a storyboard. But obviously, if you're just coming into content just to provide value, this will keep reading. But always address that second email, or the third email, the fourth email, so they know to expect it. And also, you're kind of keeping that kind of tedious, like, oh my God, is it going to come? Especially if they're enjoying the content. What happens when you stop selling? Stop selling. Here's what happened. See, this is awesome, since you're counting a personal story. And they could actually look this person up and do that kind of thing as well. And selling stuff. Yeah, a big thing for us is we always like to have conversations. Never have it be where you're being sold. Let me know. Does this change how you approach? To check out why. Excuse me. So no video here, but that's okay. If you actually can get a video testimonial from that person, that would honestly enhance this email altogether, because it's more social proof than just you just saying this person did that. The person is in a video saying how you helped them would really, really help as far as testimonial. Again, just address. Look out for my next email. Pull back the curtain. Attention around. Truth is, something really special to share with you. Or her, sorry, her. I just realized. Truth is, when you're just so important in the journey, you outgrow your preconceived notions of success. So it seems like you go into a story and then you kind of drop into just some value. I would stick to one or the other. Like, if you're going to start with the story, stick with the story, complete the story, have the whole sequence be about that. Kind of having that interchange will cause a reader, if I'm really interested and it's resonating with me, and then you just drop to a value, I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to read the next email because I'm going to expect there's going to be value. Continue the story or keep doing value. Don't switch between back and forth. And otherwise, having where the emails where you are, just kind of talking about the organization of your email, having that other social at the bottom is awesome. And obviously having everything else where they can subscribe and get access to you is really, really awesome as well. Then you have everything here. This is definitely set to active campaign. I can tell just from the email message itself. So awesome. I have active campaign open right here. So I use active campaign as well. So definitely stay using it. I think it's one of the better email platforms. And it helps just myself being in Chicago, that you can kind of go to their home office and they have these study hours and things like that. So I'm usually a very, very kind of savvy with that. But otherwise, I think that, stick to the story or stick to the value. That would be my first takeaway. Always announce the second email that's going to be coming in the sequence, because it's having the audience look forward to it. And then third and foremost is write with emotion, that it's going to be a tangible feeling. Like, get very vulnerable in your writing. Not only does it depict you as the authenticity that you're trying to go for, but also it allows you to actually facilitate and actually get out the kind of feelings and emotion that you're trying to get from your audience, or in this case, your market. And people buy anything because of emotion. They'll always rationalize secondarily with logic. So do that. And I honestly think your email campaigns will have really good success. But hope you guys enjoyed this audit and hope you get some value out of it.